This morning, an estimated 60 million people across the U.S. are facing what could be the most hazardous weather stretch of the summer season. It's a three-part threat: violent thunderstorms, life-threatening flash floods, and a stubborn dome of heat refusing to budge. Today is Wednesday, August 19, 2026. Here's the breakdown. This marks the third time this summer that a heat dome has settled over the central and southern U.S. The region simply can't catch a break. That's not typical by any measure. Now it's colliding with a severe storm outbreak that's got meteorologists on high alert. There's a lot of ground to cover, and no region of the country is being spared today. Let's kick things off out west, where the numbers coming out of the desert southwest are nothing short of jaw-dropping. The National Weather Service has put an extreme heat warning into effect across southwestern Arizona and southeastern California. And let's be clear, this isn't just hot, this is dangerous, potentially life-threatening heat. Along the lower Colorado River Valley and in Death Valley, afternoon highs are expected to climb to 115 to 118 degrees Fahrenheit. Around Yuma, Arizona, and toward El Centro, California, temperatures will run 106 to 114 degrees Fahrenheit this afternoon. The Las Vegas Valley sits in the 107 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit range today, with that warning holding through Friday evening. Now, here's something that doesn't get talked about enough: overnight lows. In Phoenix and the surrounding area, tonight's low is forecast near 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Your body relies on nighttime to recover from heat stress, and when it never drops below 85 degrees even at 3 a.m., that recovery just doesn't happen. That's exactly what makes multi-day heat events so dangerous, particularly for older adults and young kids. If you're anywhere in the Phoenix metro, Scottsdale, Tempe, Chandler, Gilbert, Mesa, Glendale, please don't brush this off. The NWS Phoenix office is calling for highs of 108 to 111 degrees Fahrenheit across central Phoenix and the East Valley this afternoon. And if your AC fails or the power goes out, get to a cooling center right away. In Maricopa County, dial 211 to locate the nearest free cooling center, water station, or transportation help. Now let's head to the Grand Canyon. Critical information if you're hiking or visiting today. An extreme heat warning covers elevations below 4,000 feet through Thursday evening. Down at Phantom Ranch, inside the canyon itself, temperatures are expected to hit 107 to 111 degrees Fahrenheit. The NWS Flagstaff office has issued a specific warning to day hikers on Bright Angel Trail: don't go past a mile and a half down, and stay out of the canyon entirely between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Hike smart. This is not the week to test your limits. Now there's an added complication in the southwest today. Blowing dust advisories are in effect across parts of Arizona, including the Gila Bend area, northwest Pinal County, the Tonopah Desert, and the Buckeye, Avondale, and South Mountain areas. That dust advisory runs from 5 to 10 p.m. MST. Tonight, down in the Tucson metro, Marana Vale, Green Valley, a separate blowing dust advisory is in effect from 3 to 10 p.m. MST. NWS Tucson is warning that a haboob could form, with that wall of dust potentially spreading west to northwest across the region. Strong thunderstorm outflow winds of 45 to 55 miles per hour could whip up massive dust walls moving northwest. If you hit blowing dust while driving on I-10, I-19, or any other highway in southern Arizona tonight, here's what to do. Pull all the way off the roadway, shift into park, set your emergency brake, and turn off every light, including your hazards. Keep your foot off the brake pedal, stay buckled in your seat, and remain in the vehicle. Remember the rule: pull aside, stay alive, never try to drive through a dust storm. Let's shift over to Nevada and Southern California, because the heat story doesn't let up there either. The NWS Las Vegas office has an extreme heat warning in effect from today through Friday evening at 8 p.m. Pacific. Lake Havasu City, Needles, Bullhead City, and 29 Palms are all looking at highs of 107 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit today. Southern California isn't escaping this either. A heat advisory holds through Thursday evening. San Bernardino and Riverside counties, including the Inland Empire, Fontana, Rancho Cucamonga, Ontario, and San Bernardino itself, can expect temperatures up to 105 degrees Fahrenheit both Wednesday and Thursday. Best advice: keep outdoor activity to the early morning hours. The Los Angeles/Oxnard NWS office also has a heat advisory posted for the Santa Clarita Valley, San Fernando Valley, the San Gabriel Mountains Corridor, the Cuyama Valley, and the Santa Ynez Range, 95 to 105 degrees Fahrenheit through Thursday. Now, before we head east, there's something important to cover: the power grid situation across the central United States. This is the story behind the story, and it's touching tens of millions of people in states you might not expect. The Southwest Power Pool, the grid operator covering 17 states and around 20 million Americans, has been operating under a federal emergency order from the U.S. Department of Energy. That order, issued under Section 202C of the Federal Power Act, was triggered by record-breaking electricity demand tied to this heat wave. In plain terms, with everyone running their AC at once, the grid is being pushed to its limits. Add in wind generation coming in below expectations, plus several power plants offline, and you've got real strain on the system. The point of the emergency order is to head off Energy Emergency Alert Level 3, the stage where rolling blackouts start. Utilities like OG&E in Oklahoma are actively urging customers to shift usage away from peak hours, roughly 2 to 7 p.m. Small steps help. Set your thermostat to 78 degrees Fahrenheit, run laundry in the morning or after 8 p.m., and lean on ceiling fans instead of cranking the AC lower. If your power does go out during this heat, don't wait it out. Get to a cooling center right away. Heat stroke can turn fatal within minutes. The states covered by this grid emergency include Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Iowa, Louisiana, and Texas. If you're in any of these states, please do your part to conserve energy today. Right now, this really is a group effort. Now let's move to the southern plains, because this heat emergency doesn't stop at the Arizona border. An extreme heat warning is currently in effect for central and northern Oklahoma, and that includes Oklahoma City. Let's move into the southern plains, where we're seeing heat index values, that's the feels like number combining heat and humidity, reaching up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit across central and northern Oklahoma, including Oklahoma City. That extreme heat warning runs from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Central Time today, issued by the NWS Norman office. If you're in Moore, Norman, Edmond, Stillwater, Enid, or Yukon, plan to stay indoors during peak heat hours. It gets more serious moving into eastern Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas. The NWS Tulsa office has an extreme heat warning in place until 9 p.m. CDT Wednesday, covering a wide stretch that includes Tulsa, Fort Smith, Muskogee, McAllister, and Tahlequah, with heat index values climbing to 113 degrees Fahrenheit today. A 113-degree feels-like temperature in Oklahoma and Arkansas in August is no small thing. This is not a drill. For central and eastern Arkansas, Little Rock, North Little Rock, Conway, Jonesboro, Pine Bluff, the NWS Little Rock office has an extreme heat warning from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. CDT, with heat index values near or above 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Now to North Texas, where the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex sits at the center of it all. An extreme heat warning covers the entire DFW area and stretches across much of North Texas today, with NWS Fort Worth warning of actual air temperatures up to 108 degrees Fahrenheit this afternoon. That includes Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, Plano, Frisco, McKinney, Denton, Louisville, and dozens of nearby communities. If you're driving I-35, I-20, I-30, or the Dallas North Tollway today, keep water in your car, always. A breakdown on a Texas highway in 108-degree heat can turn into a life-threatening situation fast. Heat advisories, one step below extreme heat warnings, cover a massive stretch beyond that. Western and northwestern Oklahoma, northern Texas, the Texas Panhandle, and the West Texas Rolling Plains, with heat index values of 107 to 109 degrees Fahrenheit today. Down in the Gulf South, southern Louisiana, including New Orleans and Baton Rouge, and southern Mississippi are under heat advisories with heat index values up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit through 8 p.m. Central tonight. The Shreveport NWS office has extended its advisory through Thursday evening at 8 p.m., covering parts of southwest Arkansas, northwest Louisiana, southeast Oklahoma, and east/northeast Texas. The Mid-South and Southeast are dealing with this too. In the Memphis area, including Tunica and Clarksdale, heat advisories carry index values of 109 to 112 degrees Fahrenheit. Stay hydrated and check in on your neighbors. In Alabama, Both the Birmingham and Mobile NWS offices have advisories covering much of the state, along with portions of the Northwest Florida Panhandle and Southeast Mississippi, with heat index readings up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. And then there's Florida. Nearly the entire state is under some form of heat alert today, from the Panhandle down to the Keys. NWS Jacksonville has an advisory for Northeast and North Central Florida, with index values up to 112 degrees Fahrenheit. NWS Tampa Bay/Ruskin covers West Central and Southwest Florida. Tampa, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, Sarasota, Fort Myers, Cape Coral, Lakeland, also up to 112 degrees Fahrenheit. NWS Miami has South Florida under an advisory with values from 105 to 112 degrees Fahrenheit between 11 a.m. and 7 p.m., covering Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Naples, and the full Florida Keys corridor. NWS Melbourne covers Central Florida, Orlando, Kissimmee, Daytona Beach, Vero Beach, with index values of 108 to 112 degrees Fahrenheit. Finally, the Carolinas and Georgia coast are under heat advisories as well. This heat dome truly spans the map. Coastal Georgia, including Savannah, and coastal South Carolina, including Charleston and Beaufort, are looking at heat index values up to 111 degrees Fahrenheit. Coastal North Carolina, Wilmington, the Myrtle Beach area, and the Outer Banks corridor is seeing values up to 109 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, let's pivot to the most volatile weather story of the day, the severe storm threat. Because while the heat danger is widespread and serious, today's severe thunderstorm setup is downright explosive. The NWS Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma, has issued a slight risk, a 2 out of 5 on the severe weather scale. But don't let slight fool you. The atmospheric ingredients lining up today are anything but minor. Everything. Here's the setup. A shortwave trough, essentially a ripple of energy moving through the upper atmosphere, is currently sitting over western Kansas, pushing east within a west-northwesterly flow aloft. At the surface, an unusually moist air mass has settled in from the mid-Mississippi Valley westward into the Central Plains. Surface dew points, the measure of moisture content at ground level, are running 68 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit. That's tropical level humidity parked right over the heart of the Great Plains. It's staggeringly muggy out there. Now here's the number that really caught meteorologists' attention today. The ML Cape values over northern Kansas. ML Cape, most unstable convective available potential energy, is essentially the fuel tank for thunderstorms. The SPC's official Day 1 outlook cites RAP model ML Cape values of 1,500 to 2,500 joules per kilogram along the Salina to Kansas City corridor. For comparison, a typical strong summer thunderstorm runs on Cape values of 500 to 1,500 joule/kg. Hitting 2,500 is exceptionally high. Any storm that fires in this corridor has the fuel to produce significant impacts. There's also a well-defined outflow boundary sitting across central Kansas, giving storms an added focal point to develop along. Isolated severe thunderstorms are already firing near that boundary as of this broadcast. So the critical question, where does the worst of it hit tonight? Let me walk through the geography. The primary threat corridor runs from northeast Kansas down into west central Missouri this evening, putting the entire Kansas City metro, on both the Missouri and Kansas sides, squarely in the danger zone tonight. Topeka, Lawrence, Ottawa, and the eastern Kansas communities along I-70 need to stay weather aware this evening. In Missouri, Jefferson City, Columbia, Sedalia, and the western edge of the St. Louis metro could also see impacts. Severe thunderstorm watch #598 is currently in effect until 4 a.m. Central Time Wednesday morning. It covers 14 Kansas counties, including Shawnee, Johnson, Wyandotte, Douglas, and Leavenworth, and 9 Missouri counties, including Jackson County, home to the heart of Kansas City. If you're anywhere in the KC Metro tonight, on either side of the state line, keep your weather alerts turned on. Let's go through the 3 main threats from tonight's storms so you know exactly what to watch for. Threat 1, and this is the SPC's top concern, damaging wind gusts. The Day 1 convective outlook specifically flags gusts above 75 miles per hour along any intense, organized line of storms. At that speed, wind can topple mature trees, knock out power lines, and flip small vehicles. The biggest risk comes if individual storms consolidate into a fast-moving intense line, what's called a quasi-linear convective system. Once that happens, wind damage can spread rapidly across a wide area. Threat 2, large hail. Moderate deep layer wind shear combined with steep lapse rates supports hail production tonight. Early on, while storms are still separate cells rather than merged into a line, hail will be the primary concern. If you're in the watch area, get vehicles under cover. Hail damage can easily run into the thousands of dollars. Threat 3. Flash flooding, arguably the most widespread and sneaky danger tonight. The Weather Prediction Center has issued a slight risk for excessive rainfall across the Missouri Valley, valid through this morning. With that extraordinary moisture in place, those 68 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit dew points, rainfall rates will run high. Expect widespread totals of 2 to 3 inches, with higher amounts possible where storms train over the same location. Training happens when repeated thunderstorm cells follow the same track, dumping rain on the same spot again and again. When that occurs, totals can climb to 4, 5, even 6+ inches in just a few hours, and flash flooding turns severe fast. Because much of this rain is expected overnight and into the Wednesday morning commute, timing matters. If you commute on I-70, I-435, I-35, or I-470 in the Kansas City area, build in extra time Wednesday morning. Based on how past severe storm events have played out in this region, overnight closures on major interstates are a real possibility. We've seen I-70 and I-35 shut down in both directions during flooding events in the KC Metro before. MoDOT runs a real-time flood information map online, or you can call 1-888-ASK-MoDOT, 1-888-275-6636 for road condition updates. Now let's move to the Midwest and Great Lakes, where it's also shaping up to be a highly active severe weather day. A distinct shortwave trough is parked over the mid-Mississippi Valley, and thunderstorms are already active across several states. In northwest Iowa, a couple of discrete supercell-style storm cells have held their structure through the evening. As they track southeast into north-central Iowa, isolated large hail and severe wind gusts are possible. Des Moines, Ames, and the I-35 corridor through central Iowa should watch the radar closely tonight. Meanwhile, storms have organized into a line across far southern Wisconsin, the Milwaukee, Kenosha, Racine area, carrying an isolated wind damage risk as it pushes southeast over the next couple of hours. Lower Michigan, including Detroit, Flint, Lansing, and Grand Rapids, is under a marginal severe weather threat this evening too. Chicago falls in that marginal risk zone as well, with storm chances mainly along and south of the metro. St. Louis, Davenport, and Des Moines are also sitting in that broader severe capable environment today.
Now, up to the northern high plains, there's a separate severe threat here as well. A second shortwave trough is moving through Montana, firing off isolated severe storms across the region.
Northeast Wyoming and northeast Montana are seeing isolated strong to severe storms, with ML Cape values running around 1000 J/kg along the moisture axis, lower than the Central Plains, but still enough to work with. The main risks here are isolated large hail and severe wind gusts through the evening in both states. Let's move into the extended forecast, because this is a multi-day story that isn't wrapping up anytime soon. Thursday, August 20th, the storm threat shifts east and south, and this could end up being the most significant day of the whole outbreak. The Weather Prediction Center has issued a slight risk, 2 out of 4, for excessive rainfall Thursday, matched by the Storm Prediction Center's slight risk, 2 out of 5, for severe thunderstorms across the mid-Mississippi Valley. The flash flood threat ramps up notably Wednesday night into early Thursday, especially from southern Iowa and northern Missouri across northern Illinois, including Chicago, and into southern Wisconsin. Repeated rounds of heavy rain will fall on ground already saturated from tonight's storms, and saturated ground floods fast even under moderate rain. Urban flooding is a real concern for Chicago and Des Moines Thursday morning. Plan your commute with that in mind. On the heat side, Thursday brings zero relief to the southwest, southern plains, or deep south. The upper-level ridge, the high-pressure dome trapping all this heat, stays anchored over the Four Corners region. The extreme heat warning across much of the desert southwest holds through Friday evening at 8 p.m. local time, and Oklahoma's run of triple-digit days looks set to continue uninterrupted through at least Sunday. *** Friday, August 21 state ***. A cold front starts pushing south, bringing storm chances to the mid-south and mid-Atlantic. The WPC has a marginal risk for excessive rainfall Friday across much of the mid-south, mid-Atlantic, and desert southwest. The southeast finally sees a bit of heat relief as the eastern trough deepens, though relief in the south in August still means heat indices in the upper 90s to low 100s. Asterisk asterisk looking toward the weekend, August 22nd, 23 RD asterisk asterisk. Here's the big picture pattern. That upper level high over the Four Corners slowly expands north into the Intermountain West and shifts east toward the high plains, keeping widespread hazardous heat locked in from the southwest through the south central plains and lower Mississippi Valley. No significant break is on the horizon. The multi-day severe storm threat along that slow-moving cold front continues through the end of the week. Monsoonal moisture keeps scattered storm chances alive out west, and the eastern trough, the pattern change everyone's waiting on, gradually deepens and extends into next week. Let me be straightforward about the heat situation we're in right now, because it's worth saying plainly. This is the third heat dome to settle over the central and southern U.S. this summer, the third, and roughly 60 million people are under heat alerts today. Oklahoma City is forecast to break a record that stood since 1918. And here's something that genuinely surprised me. Extreme heat isn't classified as a federal disaster under the Stafford Act. That means governors can't request the same federal disaster relief for heat waves that they can for hurricanes or floods. The burden falls on cities and counties, often improvised and funded out of local budgets summer after summer. So please, know your local resources, know where the cooling centers are, and check on your neighbors. It genuinely matters. Before we wrap, here's the safety information I think matters most today. If you're in the severe storm zone, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Wisconsin, make sure you have multiple ways to receive warnings: a weather app, a NOAA weather radio, outdoor sirens. Have at least 2 working and ready before tonight. If a tornado warning is issued in your area, even though today's primary threats are wind, hail, and flooding, get to your lowest interior room, away from windows, a basement if you have one, otherwise a ground floor bathroom or closet. If you're in the heat warning zones across Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, or the Southwest, know the warning signs: heat exhaustion, still sweating, feeling dizzy, weak, maybe nauseous. Get inside and cool down immediately. Heat stroke, skin hot, red and dry, no sweating, confusion, slurred speech, or loss of consciousness. Call 911 immediately. Heat stroke is a medical emergency. Don't wait to see if it passes. Time matters. And once again, never leave children or pets in a closed vehicle. Not for a minute, not even with the windows cracked. A car's interior can hit 130 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit on a hot day. That's fatal within minutes for a child or a pet. Let's bring it all together. Here's your full rundown for today. Wednesday, August 19, 2026. Desert Southwest, extreme heat warning through Friday. Temperatures 106 to 118 degrees Fahrenheit. Stay inside, find air conditioning. Nevada, Southern California, heat warnings and advisories through Thursday. Sharply limit outdoor activity. Arizona overnight, blowing dust, possible haboob near Tucson. If you're driving, pull aside, stay alive. Southern Plains, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Fort Smith, Dallas-Fort Worth all under extreme heat warnings, heat index values 108 to 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Conserve power, check on elderly neighbors and relatives. Deep South, Gulf Coast, Florida. Heat advisories from 11 a.m. to 7 or 8 p.m. tonight nearly everywhere. Heat index 105 to 112 degrees Fahrenheit. Hydrate constantly. Avoid peak hours. The humidity makes this brutal. Central Plains, Lower Missouri Valley, severe thunderstorm watch #598 in effect through 4 a.m. Wednesday. Main threats: wind gusts above 75 miles per hour along any organized line, large hail, and dangerous overnight flash flooding. Kansas City Metro, both sides of the state line, you're in the highest risk corridor tonight. Keep your alerts on. Flooding on I-70, I-35, and local roads is a real possibility overnight and into the Wednesday morning commute. Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan. Broader Midwest, marginal to slight severe storm risk through this evening. Hail and wind the main threats. Watch the radar. Be ready to shelter if your county gets a warning. Looking ahead, Thursday brings a level 2 severe storm and flooding risk to the mid-Mississippi Valley and upper Midwest. Chicago and Des Moines. Pay close attention Thursday morning. Urban flooding is a real possibility. And the heat isn't going anywhere. The ridge holds through the weekend across the Southwest and Southern Plains. This is a developing, multi-day weather situation, and I'll keep you updated as conditions change. Stay safe out there, and take care of each other.